Thank you very much, and welcome to this session about smart hospitals. We're going to talk about infrastructure, tools, and how this is reshaping tomorrow's healthcare. So I'm Professor Pierre-Antoine Gourraud from Nantes Medical University. I've been running the biomedical data warehouse in our medical center. And when I hear about smart hospitals, I can't help thinking about our great philosopher Quang. And Quang has this idea that tools, technology, emerging opportunities for data are actually what he called a symbolic substitution, meaning reshaping biology, reshaping social realities, and that's really what we're going to talk about today, because all this advent of AI, of new sources of data, IoT, and etc. These are really new opportunities, but they really also raising a lot of questions for healthcare managers, for caregivers, for patients. So I'm very lucky to have a great panel to discuss that issues. We're going to see what does it change, how the patient will actually benefit from these new opportunities. What does it really change? Is that really a new business? New opportunities for prevention. So to talk about that, we're very lucky to have Dr. Michael Lauk from Braun. So we'll have the manufacturer point of view. My great colleague, Dr. Solène Quang, is a surgeon. She has a private practice, but she has a lot of background in the digital area. And with my esteemed colleague, Professor Antoine Tesnière, who is the head of the PariSanté campus, will probably also have the point of view more coming from the public sector and all the academic research. Michael, I'd like first to turn to you. This is a very exciting time. You can see that from one hand of the spectrum, the manufacturer point of view. How things are changing. How do you feel about all this hype about AI and data and talking about hospitals that are becoming smart? What does it mean?
It's a pretty good point, and I want to start with something that is at a first glance rather boring, which is the data side. What we see is that data become more and more the center of everything what our customers are doing, availability of information, but also on the other side, the problem that there's an overload of information that is not brought or presented in the right way or analyzed in the right way so that healthcare workers can use it or patients can use it in the sense to make care better. And so what we see as a big challenge is that larger customers of us, they are using 2,000 different systems and they are not talking to each other. So our commitment is to also help as a manufacturer to make this better and to embed our different devices and applications and consumables that we have in higher integrated systems that makes it easier to also connect with other systems in a hospital and to also get the information out of our systems so that they are readily available everywhere. And I mean, examples that we are one of the market leaders in is in infusion therapy, medication management, right? Braun is known also for this side. And before we talk about AI, there's even lots of situations in a hospital where you have daily, I call it media breaks. So you have one device, something's coming out of it, then stuff is printing it, and then another person is typing the printout again in another system.
So that's the so-called digital era.
Yes, right. So I think we have much more to take care about the data first. And then there's a lot of exciting stuff we can do with AI, of course, to make care better, faster, and more efficient. That's maybe the first step.
Thank you. That's really music to my ears. I created the data clinic in our hospital. So I think every time we talk about data, I think that's really the foundation. But I'd like, Solène, to have your point of view, maybe on the other end of the spectrum, as a surgeon in the private sector. What does it mean for you, a smart hospital or a smart practice?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, I think as a private surgeon, maybe simpler because the smart hospital is the surgeon. So everybody today is speaking on of ChatGPT. Patient are speaking of ChatGPT. Physician are speaking of ChatGPT. Hospital, manufacturers. But yeah, the key you were saying is data. And who is generating data today? This is the physician actually. But physicians that they are not educated for both of them to data, how to use data, and I think the key is the education. And the education will go to patient if physician can help them to understand why it's not good to use GPT. I think this is a chance to have AI today, but the use of data, the use of AI is really our challenge.
Thank you. I like your vision, and I think we're very lucky because we have all the data value chain from the manufacturer to the caregiver, and everyone is contributing to this data value chain from the medical device to the expertise of the caregiver. Antoine, what about you? How do you see smart hospital? How do we as faculty, as researchers, contribute to that transformation? And what can we say about it?
Well, there are plenty of things we can say. First, I'd like to start by saying that we are living through exciting times. And we see that the number of changes that the hospital has been undertaking over the last decades or so is actually fueled and powered by data and by digital tools. And so I see data and digital tools and AI as profound facilitators, accelerators of these changes, not only within the hospital. Of course, there are implications for teams inside the hospitals, but also in a way of opening the hospitals to its external landscape and environment and driving important changes. We'll get back to that. Within the hospital, we know that data will provide safety, quality, productivity at some point, if we can use this word, but I think it's really important. And we have a number of examples in different hospitals in France, in Europe, across the world, how data, when it's correctly used, is really a catalyzer of changes and improvement in the way the hospital works, providing better conditions of work for healthcare professionals and better care for patients. And you can look over the emergency room, you can look over the OR, you can look at internal work in the whatever planification, etc. There are many examples of how data-driven changes are so important for smart hospitals. Of course, this implies that you have to train healthcare professionals to work with these new tools, and you have to engage cultural revolution, not only about skills, but also on the tools that you are going to use. And we have many examples in our hospitals how technology can be, on one hand, very powerful, on the other hand, can be repulsive when it's not usually designed thought, I would say.
And do you think we do enough for medical students in the training? Is that something that is slowly evolving, maybe too slowly?
So we need to focus on already working healthcare professional. We need to be focused also on the younger generation. And there are profound changes that we need to drive for the medical education, that's for sure. I think that's going to be another roundtable because it's plenty other topics to discuss. But what I want to mention is that these changes occur not only within the hospitals, but also outside the hospitals by creating better connection and also providing information on the care pathway for every patient. And this allows us not only to think on how we connect the hospital to its environment, but also to understand how the hospital can take a new role in future changes of the healthcare system. And I'm thinking also in prevention initiatives, for example, where we see that the data and the hospital and the healthcare professional in one chain of value have large role to play.
Thank you so much. Michael, I'm going back to you as a manufacturer. So you basically said you're entering in this digital gray zone where data is flowing everywhere. Could you give us a couple of examples of how things have been changing in your company, and what are the examples on the field that could be meaningful to our audience?
I mean, the first point of attack for us is, of course, non-regulated areas. Because as you said, it's pretty tough currently to work with AI-based technologies, specifically if they are changing reinforced learning and stuff like this in a regulated environment where patient safety is key. And that is still ongoing to have new technologies in this field in daily practice. Because there's also a lack of data. So we start basically with service cases, for example. We already use in the company a service case where we just use AI technologies to make our service better and more predictive for dialysis machines, for example, so that our service teams can identify much faster than earlier, what is the cause of the error and then repair it, which of course then makes the service again lower priced. So it serves also the system with respect to that it's lower priced and faster. And that's kind of the technical side of the equation. And I think most companies try to start also on this side and our own operations. When it comes to patient safety or regulated areas, it's really talking about the AI Act and the medical device regulation. It's really difficult. It became difficult because there is conflicting regulations.
And do you think the two laws don't talk to one another, or
Yes.
and you're in the middle of that?
Yes, because with respect to the medical device regulation, we already are used to have a risk-based approach, no matter if that's AI or hardware or whatever. Now there's another law coming in telling us to have another risk-based approach, making some devices that are already working with algorithms that fall under a strict interpretation into the AI field. And again, every class 2A, 2B, and 3 device is automatically a high-risk AI system. And so this is just to give you a little bit an idea, difficulties we are facing on our daily work. That is, we can solve that, but it makes us slow. And another point is the legal side, of course. For example, talking about how a patient consent has to look like, so that we can have a secondary data usage for training AI models. Because imagine that the patient then later is giving you an opt-out, but the data has already been used to train a model. So there's lots of unknown things for us as an industry and manufacturer to move fast, and we would love to have a closer relation also to the European Union and to talk about the different regulations, because it's not about we need regulations and there's no discussion about patient safety. That's not my point, but we need to have clear rules.
And don't you feel that for the patients, sometimes it's very difficult to understand. When you think about medical device, you have a material failure. Okay, that's easy. You see when you talk about risk for privacy, when we talk about IP from the data, that's not really tangible. I think that's one of the awareness we have to raise, probably starting from the manufacturer, where the data basically flows.
That's true. Let me just shortly answer that. There is, of course, an overlapping in between cybersecurity risks and patient safety. And again, an infusion pump is an example. I mean, if you hack an infusion pump, of course you can threat the life of a patient by just giving a higher bolus from a certain medication. So there is an overlap, but on the cybersecurity side, you're right. We are not really talking to the patients about risk versus benefit. And that's where we do. That's where we do everything. I think this is what you do every day as a surgeon, right? You tell the patient risk versus benefit. We don't do it on the cybersecurity side. It's often. I mean, that's maybe more difficult in Germany than in France. I don't know, but in Germany, risk is always above everything. And then if people are getting a disease like cancer, they realize, if there would have been more data in the past, then my own treatment would be better, and then they realize that there's a high benefit for taking a little bit the risk that there's a cybersecurity issue. And again, the risk is pretty low because we are using technologies that are state-of-the-art, securing data. That's not the point, but there is still a remaining risk, as everyone knows.
Thank you. I don't think we're going to get into a cultural comparison between France and Germany. That said, that's very interesting, and that's probably the wealth of the European thinking about all these emerging issues. For you, Antoine, how this data that is flowing, shared between institutions, how should we organize that? There's local hubs, national hubs. We're doing that in a European data space. That is probably a challenge for the years to come.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only cultural question, but also technological questions. A few years ago, the way of centralizing data was probably the most prominent vision. Now that we can use federated access to data, it's much easier to actually have collaboration between centers and to access some part of the data within regulatory frames, of course. And I think at the end, so each country has its own regulation. As you mentioned, Europe has started a process of creating frames for a European health data space that will be the cover that will regulate everything in Europe. In the meantime, there are a number of very important examples of hospitals groups collaborating together. And we see moving from classical international cohorts and to fully embedded electronic data space within the hospital, the power of the data collected on an everyday basis. And that's really important when thinking into secondary use. Of course, the primary use is very relevant for patients traveling, sharing their files, etc. But the secondary use will give us more power, not only for research, but also for development, with rules for access for industrial partners, etc. So I think at the end, this EHDS is probably the most structuring initiative that will come to Europe for data. And I also want to mention that it's a unique initiative in the world. For the first time, a group of countries will gather data from all its citizens, 450 million population, much wider than any larger initiative at the moment.
I truly think, thank you very much, that what you said is very important, that we are discovering all these issues of data. There's the primary intention of the data. It could be reanalyzed, and in particular in health, we usually gather data for care. But there are many opportunities to give other lives to this data, and probably in a different form. So it has to be anonymized, it could be re-simulated, it could be distributed, and the wealth of information that is in the data is different from what you need to move from one caregiver to the other as a patient. And that's also true for research. I think we see emerging a number of examples where you collect a great deal of data for a particular idea in mind, and a few years after that you realize that there are new opportunities. There's other people having great ideas about how we could use that data to re-innovate the system, to find new opportunities, and etc. And that is really new. So thank you for that. When we think about what's coming ahead, when we see that we are gaining in maturity, there's a lot of innovation. It takes time, years after years in the AI for Health. We talk about these opportunities. Some of them are coming. But at the end of the day, what's in there for patients? And I'm turning to you, Solène, because they see application of AI in other fields, probably less conservative than health. So really, what's in there for me as the patient?
So all what we do in healthcare is for patients at the end. So my point of view is that as a physician, we really have to help patients to understand where their data are going, because they are asking that at the beginning when you are proposing them to participate to medical study with medical device. It can be an AI tool in my private practice. All of them are saying, where are going my data? Where are they stocked? And this is something quite stressing for them. So my point of view is that the patient is a real actor of this system, but nothing can be done if the physician, they are not educated to help them to understand. Because today, most of the physicians, they don't know how to use AI, how to explain AI to patients. Some of them are afraid of them. They think that they are going to be replaced. This is really something in our mindset we have as physicians, because we don't know how to work with AI. So my point of view is, as a physician, to be able to help my patient to understand AI and to be treated thanks to AI, I'm not saying treated by AI, is to participate to projects.
So you are an AI-enhanced surgeon, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm using, for example, in my private practice, AI to help me to diagnosis with X-ray, to help it's more precise diagnosis. I'm a medical entrepreneur also, so because I know what AI can do. I can co-develop and develop by myself AI tool to help my patient after the surgery to be reassured, because patients, they are really stressed by treatment, by surgery, and AI can really help them sometimes just to understand what they have in their mouth after my oral surgery. That is not a big deal, that is normal. So AI can be very stressful, but AI can also help to not be stressed. And what I've done to help physicians to accompany their patients to better understand AI is to create this company, Hack Your Care. Physicians, their mission, they are participating to mission with manufacturers. They are testing products. They are testing product as final users. They are putting in the middle of the company to say, I'm a medical expert because I'm a clinician expert. I'm not an AI expert at the beginning. I'm a clinical expert. But by working with manufacturers to co-develop tools, I can understand what AI. And this is really what I've done at the beginning. I was a resident, and I was asked to help a CEO of a startup to annotate X-ray. So I think I annotate more than 2,000 nights and days, and that's how I understand how to use AI with my patient.
We need more. We actually need both the expertise from the field, from the clinician, but we also need more interactions between the stakeholders, and that's
exactly.
what you're driving through.
Yeah, exactly. So I really think that AI is a good thing, but we, as a physician, have to be more educated to help patients not to be afraid and stop using GPT for everything.
Thank you very much to all of you. I think that this is very interesting. Thank you for your different point of view. No matter the data is not tangible, it's not something concrete that we have in hands. It's certainly an opportunity for all the caregiver actually to be more human, because some of their task is actually alleviated by all these new tools, these emerging possibilities, and that's actually probably a good news. Thanks to this kind of event, thanks to the training, the advertisement around all these innovation, there is really an opportunity for changing the practice. And for smart hospitals, I guess we really saw that it's not so much just tech-enhanced hospital that is using new tools, but it's really an opportunity to rethink how data is generated, how data is driving the management of the institutions, the information we can give as early as possible to all the patients. So thank you very much again for your point of view, and see you soon on the stage for AI for Health. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.